We always want our images to look great. We always want to show our best self to the world, which is actually a good thing. Photoshop allows you to retouch your photo to any level that you want, but guys, don't overdo it. As you can see, I was able to retouch this photo and take it from this to this in a matter of minutes. So let's get inside Photoshop and let me show you how to do photo retouch. Alright, before we actually begin guys, the first thing I need you to keep in mind is that photo retouching is not something which you need to memorize. Don't try to force it. Try to understand the reason behind the tools you are trying to use and why you must use them. Okay, so as you can see here, I have this image of a very beautiful lady and there are a lot of inconsistencies on the face. First we have inaccurate colors and there are a lot of bumps on the face. This is what we'll be fixing in this particular video. Now there are many tools inside Photoshop that can allow you to remove these bumps, but I'm going to use the standard spot healing brush tool because it removes the bumps and softens the area. So the first thing I'll do is to come on the layer here and just press Ctrl+J with that layer selected to duplicate it. Then I'll switch to the spot healing brush tool, and here on the options bar I'll click inside here and make sure that the hardness of the brush is set to 100%. Then I want to make sure the painting mode is set to normal and the type is set to content aware, and sample all layers is not checked because I want Photoshop to focus just on this particular layer. Now with all those settings in mind, I'll just begin to paint on these bumps to remove them. Now as you can see, the bumps are very close to the surrounding colors. So one way to make bumps very visible or blemishes is by adding a black and white adjustment layer. So just come here and click on the adjustment layer icon, then simply choose black and white. To make sure the bumps become more visible, simply reduce the reds. Now as you can see, the bumps are more visible for us to retouch. I'll make sure I have this layer selected and I'll just begin to paint on the bumps with the spot healing brush tool. Alright, after I'm done removing all the bumps, I'm going to get rid of the black and white adjustment layer. As you can see, this is the before and this is the after. Now the goal at this particular stage is not to completely get rid of all the bumps because we still want to maintain her identity. Now I'll come to this layer and rename it to color. Then I'll add one more copy of it by pressing Ctrl+J and I'll rename the layer above it to texture. The reason I'm renaming these two layers is so that we can be able to have the textures or the areas with the roughness. Texture in any image guys represent the areas with the roughness. In this case the area with the bumps and so on. Those areas are the textures. So I'm going to hide the texture layer for a moment to focus just on the color layer. Now what do I want on this layer? I want to clear away all the textures or the bumps by blurring everything. Okay, so I'll go to filter and then I'll choose blur and then I'll choose Gaussian blur. What I normally do is to take the ratio slider down to 0. As you can see, you can come inside here and just click to sample any portion which will be visible on this preview window. You can also click here to pan around just like so. If you need to zoom, you can always press the minus sign or the plus sign to zoom in and out. So I'll zoom to a very comfortable position and sample the portion beside the nose here. Then I'll zoom to that particular portion. Now, depending on the type of corrections you need to make on your particular image, that is very important to consider because it will determine the value you input here as the radius. So in this particular image, I need to blur the image in such a way that the bumps right here are completely wiped out. So I'll just begin to increase the slider by dragging it to the right until a level where I see that all the bumps are completely gone and I'm left with just pure color. I think let's actually take it down to 8.2, it will work. Then I'll just click here to confirm. Alright, now on this color layer, we have cleared away the texture. Okay guys, now let's bring back the texture without the colors. So to do that, simply enable the texture layer here. As you can see, everything is still there because we duplicated the retouch layer. Now select the texture, and before you actually do this, make sure you understand the mode in which your image is in. As you can see up here beside the document name, it says 8-bit or it says 8. The 8 here simply means the bit depth of the image. In other words, how many colors the image has. If you have a 16-bit image, it simply means it has more colors than this particular image. And so if you also have a 32-bit image, it means it has more colors than a 16 or an 8-bit image. That's basically what that number tells you. In order to convert any image from one bit to another, you can always click on the word image, then go to mode, and as you can see here, we have 8-bit per channel checked. This means this image is in 8-bit, but to send it to 16-bit, you can just duplicate the colors by choosing 16-bit. To have even more colors, you can choose 32-bit, but I'm just going to allow it to 8-bit. Now, what do we want to do with the texture layer? We want to subtract the colors from it to make sure just the bumps are visible. To do that, select the texture layer, then go to image, and then choose apply image. Alright. On the apply image dialog box, we have the source. The source is simply the name of the document you are working on. As you can see, if you have multiple documents, you can set those as source by clicking here. In this case, since I have just one document open, that is why we have just a particular document here. Now, the most important thing you need to do here is to make sure you input the layer we need to subtract. If it is an 8-bit image, then we need to select the layer from here, which is the color layer, which we need to subtract it from the texture layer. We select it, and then we change the blending mode from multiply to subtract. Then make sure opacity is set to 100%, because if the opacity is set to 0, no change will happen. So make sure it is at 100%. Now, if you have a 16-bit image, what you will normally do would be to change the blending mode from subtract to add. Then you will input a scale of 2 and 0 here. But since my image is 8-bit, as I've explained, we have to choose subtract, set the opacity to 100, and then make sure we have a scale of 2 and an offset of 128. These are just universally accepted values. Okay guys, and there's a lot of math going there which you don't want to start experimenting how it works. So just make sure these settings are set for an 8-bit image, and then you click OK. Now I'm going to click here to disable every other layer, and as you can see, we took away all the colors, okay guys, and allow just the textures. This is very important. Now let's enable the color layer, and with the texture layer selected, let us simply change the blending mode from normal to linear light. And at this stage, you can still control the opacity of the layer by taking it way down to 0 to show the layer below it, which is a color layer, and then gradually adjust the opacity. But I think let's take it up to 100%. Now, to confirm if you have done everything correctly, put these two layers inside one group. Select the two layers and then press Ctrl+G. Then rename it to stay organized. Now let us enable the original background image, and let's show the before and after. As you can see, you can't tell the difference unless you look at the spots or the bumps which were removed. Apart from that, her eyes are still the same, the lips are still the same, everything else is still the same. That means we have done a great job. Now let's hide the background for the moment, and let's expand the group. Right now I'm going to hide the texture layer and select the color layer because I want to paint and even out the tones. And what I mean by that is, as you can see, although we blur out the colors, they don't actually look right, they don't look smooth. So the painting we are going to do right now is to smooth the colors and make sure everything is nice, clean as possible. One tool that helps you to smoothen colors inside Photoshop is the mixer brush. So come here under the brush tools and then select the mixer brush from here. On the options bar, we have different settings. But let me start by resetting everything to default. I'll choose reset tool. As you can see, by default, this is how everything looks. The first thing you want to do is to make sure you have a soft round brush selected. Then click on this down pointing arrow and choose clean brush. Now click on this button which says load the brush after each stroke to turn it off. Now this button must be turned on because the brush stroke has to be clean after you have established the first painting. The reason this is so important is because if you click here to paint over this portion which is blue, and if this button is not checked, you come and paint over this other portion, it is going to mix these colors with the blue colors from here. So we want to make sure that after we have painted this portion and let go of the mouse, Photoshop is going to automatically clean that brush stroke before we continue painting on other portions. Now, also depending on the type of image or the complexity of the image you are working on, you might decide to take a weight value way down to 1 or 2 or as high as 20. Most of the time I always prefer to keep it at 10%, then the load to 75, mix 90 and the flow of 100%. And I want to make sure sample all layers is not checked because I want Photoshop to see the colors that are available just within this particular layer. With all these settings guys, you are ready to paint and even out the skin tones. So I'll just increase the size of my brush, and the way I paint is I try to identify those portions which are very similar. What I mean by that is that you don't want to start painting from here and then coming inside here like this. As you can see, if you paint the blue and go towards the lighter portions here, you are actually blending those two colors together. You don't want that, so I'll press Ctrl Z to undo. So what I'll have to do is to zoom into the image and then make sure the color layer is selected, and then I'll just start painting these similar portions together. Alright, after taking some time to even out the colors on the face, let's enable the texture layer again. Now since I'm happy with the results I'm seeing on the screen, I'm going to disable the texture layer for a moment, and then I'll try to use the Lasso tool to even out the colors even more. So I'll select the Lasso tool from here, and one very important setting you need to make sure you understand is the feather option right here. Notice that by default the feather value is set to 0. So with this feather value set to 0, if I were to just make a rough selection on the forehead right here, and let us say I fill it with the foreground color by pressing Alt Backspace, then let's press Ctrl D to deselect everything. As you can see, the transitioning of these colors from the edges here is too sharp, okay? You don't want that when you are doing photo retouching. So I'll press Ctrl Z several times to undo those changes, and then let us set the feather value up to like 50 pixels, and then let's make another selection. Then let's fill it by pressing Alt Backspace, that's Option Delete. As you can see, because we increased the feather value, Photoshop did not make the transitioning so smooth. Photoshop added 50 pixels before the selection and 50 pixels after the selection. That is why if I press Ctrl D, you see that it is actually transitioning so nicely with the colors in the background. Again, let's press Ctrl Z to undo since you have understood how to use the feather option here. As far as image retouching is concerned, I always find a value in the range of 20 to 30 to work very well. So I'll just select the feather option right here and input 20 pixels and then confirm it. Then what I'm going to do is to simply select this portion on the forehead right here. Then I'll go to filter, then I'll choose blur, and then I'll choose Gaussian blur. And right inside here, as you can see, Photoshop is intelligent enough to remember the radius we used a moment ago at the beginning of the video. So I'm just going to come inside here and multiply this value by 3. Now you can take some time to do the math, but I think it's better to allow Photoshop to do that for you. So to multiply by 3, simply press the star key or the asterisk key on your numpad and then input 3 there. Then once you hit the tab key, Photoshop will calculate it to be 24.6. Simply click OK. As you can see, the skin tones here have been evened out so nicely. Now I'm going to select this other portion right from here and then just right click and then choose Gaussian blur, and by default that value will be applied. If you feel like it is too much, you can right click and then choose Fade Gaussian blur. Simply take the opacity down, it is like no blur has been applied, and then gradually take it up. I think a blur of 61 is actually okay, so I'll choose OK. Then I'll come towards these portions here and do the same thing. I'll right click and then choose Gaussian blur, then right click again, choose Fade Gaussian blur and input 61 right there. And then let's enable the texture layer one more time. As you can see, this is how everything looks right now. You can come to the texture layer and simply take down its opacity. I think as far as this image is concerned, an opacity of 70 will work just fine, so I'll adjust the texture opacity to 70% and then confirm it. Let's enable the original background to see the before and after. So this is how the image looked and this is how it looks now. Now I'll hide the original background layer and make another stand visible layer of everything I see on the screen. So I'm going to press Ctrl Alt Shift and E to create a stand visible layer of everything I have retouched so far. Now I'll just rename this to color grading or color adjustment, and then I'll go here under the adjustment layer icon and add the curves adjustment layer. Now on the curves property, you can see that we have 3 eyedroppers. The one at the bottom right here controls the brightest part of the image. The one at the top controls the darkest part of the image, and the one in between controls the gray points. So select the one here at the bottom, which controls the highlights or the brightest part of the image, and simply click on the portion of the image that is too bright. In my case, it is this portion right here. I'll just click there, and by doing that, this is how we corrected the image or corrected the highlights. Now let us select the one at the top, and then let us click on the darkest part. I think this portion right here. Let's hide it and see what difference it makes. So this is it without the curves adjustment, and this is the particular photo with curves adjustment. Huge difference. I'm going to shift click here to select the 2 layers, then I'll press Ctrl G to group them. And this is the photo without the adjustment, and this is the same photo with those adjustments. Huge difference, guys. So this is exactly what I wanted to show you in this video. I hope you have learned something from it. If you found this video very useful, please subscribe to our channel and give us a like. Thank you for watching, and I'm going to see you in the next one tomorrow. Bye bye.